Right then, I'm now here for my Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson full card predictions. Massive, massive, massive card this Saturday. Really looking forward to this one. Let's get into it then, starting with Jarrell Miller versus Kingsley Ivy. Um, Jarrell Miller's going to win this fight. Let's be honest here. Ivy's an interesting one, but has he really done anything great of note? I mean, again, hits hard, 14 KOs out of his 16 wins, manages the distance well, but it's like he don't do anything amazingly special, I don't think. He's not really a big volume puncher. I feel like, he likes to get a read of you. I just I feel like early on, especially, Jarrell Miller's not really going to be letting IB do that. Jarrell Miller's going to be on him from the off, pressuring him, quick hands on the inside once he gets going. I think Jarrell Miller's going to give Kingsley IB a really, really, really hard time in there, to be honest with you. I feel like I feel like it could be brutal. We'll break him down to the body, break him down upstairs. And I see Jerome Miller just teeing off on him on the ropes on the inside, just setting loads of different traps, just not letting IB move whatsoever. I think IB's way too slow for him as well, to be honest. I think, if I'm being real here, um, look, Jerome Miller lost to Andy Ruiz. Sorry, he beat Andy Ruiz Jr. That's what really happened. He actually beat Andy Ruiz Jr. So he won that fight, really. He's had a year and a half out since that fight, plus that injury that he had before going into that Fabio Wardley fight, which should have happened. He arguably probably would have won that if that would have went ahead on the night Wardley fought Hooney. Who knows what state the division would be in now if that fight actually had bloody happened. But that would make things really interesting. But look, back onto this fight. Look, Jarrell Miller will win. He's getting old now, though, 37, probably juiced up again. And, he'll get that EPO going. And he'll be able to last the full 10 rounds, however long it is. And just be able to bully Ivy. But nah, it's not going the distance anyway. It's not going the distance. Ivy hasn't really seen anyone of note other than really Anderson early on in his career. Then, he's been picking up wins here and there, Ivy. But Jarrell Miller's going to be able to run through this guy, really. He's going to be absolutely run through this guy in brutal fashion. I think Jarrell Miller does this inside 4 rounds. That's my prediction. Jarrell Miller inside 4. I think it should be a pretty easy night's work for him. Anyway, we then get to an interesting scrap. Bruce Carrington, Shushu versus Carlos Castro. Shushu's going to win this fight, in my opinion. I think it goes the distance, but Carrington's dangerous. I feel like he's a ridiculously good counter puncher. In my opinion, I'd arguably go all the way and say, right now, probably one of the best counter punchers in boxing. He's very, very, very smart. Mid-range, that's where he likes it. Good at range, very good at mid-range. That's where he likes it. Good counters at mid-range. Carlos Castro, interesting one because 14 wins out of 30 14 knockouts out of 30 wins. But I think Castro hits a lot harder than his record does suggest. Dropping Fulton, for example. Again, he's rocked many top guys. He had Figueroa in a bit of trouble at points. Carlos Castro hits hard. He is dangerous. And Carrington will have to, watch out for the odd things in the exchanges because Carlos Castro is going to stand there and he is going to exchange with Carrington. And if Castro can get some smart shots through, which he always is able to do on his opponents, no matter what, win or lose, he's always landing some big shots in your opponents and putting you through trying to put you through some kind of adversity. He hits hard. He is dangerous. But Carlos Castro has no defense whatsoever. None. He's going to find it very hard to have answers for the constant counters of Bruce Carrington. He will. I think Shushu's he's, as I said, ridiculously good counter puncher, and Castro's got zero defense. Again, in exchanges, it could be interesting if Castro can get to Shushu, and he could. He probably will get to him at points but he won't be able to finish him. Carrington's going to get to Castro, and he's going to hurt him. He's going to hurt him. He's going to get to him. Castro has no defense. He leaves himself open for counters. That's the thing. And I see Carrington backing him up. Carrington's going to be on the front foot. Again, Castro does move well, and he does, place his shots nicely. And Castro's a ridiculously tough man as well. He can take big shots. He takes big shots to give them back, even harder a lot of the time. But he's not beating Carrington. Carrington is way too smart for him. Way too smart. And again, Castro's got a big puncher's chance, but a shadow of a doubt he does. He has a puncher's chance against anyone he fights. I mean, he has more than that against anyone he fights. He's a very good fighter, but this isn't a nice stylistic fight for him at all. It's not a good stylistic matchup. I think it's one in which Bruce Carrington should be able to pass with flying colors. I think Bruce Carrington's going to stop him late. I'm going to say, well, I say late. I reckon round 7 or 8, so kind of mid rounds, really. 7-8, I'm going to say for Bruce Carrington. I really do think he will be able to stop Castro. I mean, I seen beating the brakes off him in the end. I really think this is a style where Shushu's going to be able to get a proper rhythm going, and he's going to hurt Castro bad, and he's going to be able to stop it. The referee's going to be forced to stop it. I feel like Carrington's going to badly bruise Castro's face. I feel like he's going to make him bleed badly. I feel like this could be a brutal beatdown in the end from Shushu. So round 7 or 8, Bruce Carrington wins. Next up, then, Keyshawn Davis versus Jermaine Ortiz. You've got to say Keyshawn Davis wins this fight. You've got to. Almost a year out since his Berechik win. Obviously, he's had a few things going on. But, yeah, Keyshawn Davis will win this fight against Jermaine Ortiz. Look, Jermaine Ortiz only losses to Tio and Loma. That tells you something. The guy always operates at the top level. But I think Keyshawn Davis wins this fight. Again, Jermaine Ortiz is good, moves well. Again, he doesn't really exchange with you loads. He doesn't really like to stand his ground loads. He does move off a lot. And it's, again, difficult guy for anyone to pin down. Loma couldn't fully do it. He couldn't finish him and pin him down. Tio, again, couldn't finish him, couldn't pin him down in that regard. So I think Keyshawn Davis wins. I think he wins a decision here. I don't see it being the greatest of fights. I think Keyshawn Davis is going to come in. He's going to push the pace more than Jermaine Ortiz. Jermaine Ortiz is going to look to move. He's going to jump in and out with some decent shots and get success. And he's going to be able to pick up a few rounds. I see him frustrating Keyshawn at some points in this fight. But eventually, I feel like Keyshawn's going to get to him. Keyshawn's going to be the more aggressive guy. He's going to land some very vicious body shots on Jermaine Ortiz, which I think is going to be very important in him being able to pick up the win in this fight. I feel like that's what he's going to resort to, Keyshawn Davis. I feel like he's going to have to resort to a body breakdown on Jermaine Ortiz to stop that movement, to stop that footwork, and eventually get to him. But I see like 116, 112 scorecards here for Keyshawn Davis, where he's eventually going to gradually pick it up and have to dig really deep, because I feel like he's going to get frustrated with the style of Jermaine Ortiz. He's not going to want to engage with him. He's going to be moving off a lot. He's going to be tagging with some shots, but I don't think it's going to be shots that overly phases Keyshawn Davis. And I think eventually Keyshawn Davis is going to get to him, but he won't be able to finish Jermaine Ortiz. He moves too much and can keep up that pace. But I see Keyshawn Davis getting to him, landing the bigger shots, and the judges will favor his pressure much more. So I think Keyshawn Davis will win. A close decision here and there, because Ortiz will pick up rounds, but it'll be close, but Keyshawn will be the obvious winner. Okay, then, next up, could be fight of the night, this. Carlos Adames versus Austin Ammo Williams. Why is that just gone? Oh, that is why. Let's fix that up. Right. I am picking Carlos Adames to beat Ammo Williams. You would think there's going to be some kind of upset on the card, though, won't you? Like, does Ivy beat Jarrell Miller or something? No, I've got to say Carlos Adames beats Ammo Williams. Again, great fight. Really happy this is happening. The Carlos Adames has got to win. He's got to. I feel like he's much stronger than what Ammo Williams is. Again, Williams is good, got a good double jab, which he sets his shots up very nicely behind. I feel like he starts a lot of his attacks well behind that southpaw backhand. I think that is what Ammo Williams does well. Does start attacks well behind his backhand, which I think is very important. Carlos Adames is going to be able to break him down. I think Carlos Adames will stop Ammo Williams in round 9. Yeah, it's an interesting fight. It is. I think Williams will get success with the double jab, especially early on. It's going to be interesting to see how Adames eventually does get a read on Williams, because Adames does like to read you early. And especially against these high level guys like Ammo Williams, who is going to make him have to work to be able to get to where he wants to be. Eventually Adames will get to where he wants to be, and he is going to be able to and he's going to be able to put again a bit of a beat down onto Ammo Williams. Williams is always going to be fighting back and always being able to get success in the fight, though. He's never going to shy away. He's always going to hold his own. He's always going to stand his ground, and he will get success in mid range. I see Ammo Williams getting a decent uppercut going at points in this fight, but I think Carlos Adames wins. Again, body work will be important. Shots over the top will be very important. I think the overhand right from Carlos Adames will be very strong in this fight. I think, again, right hook, the overhand, very big shots for Adames. He always mixes it up, and I feel like Williams will get confused. Shots coming from all kinds of angles with Carlos Adames. I think Adames wins this fight. I think he gets a stoppage win over Austin Ammo Williams. And then we get to our main event. Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez. I think Shakur Stevenson is going to win this fight against Teofimo Lopez. They win a decision. I reckon it'll be convincing. Yeah, I reckon it'll be convincing. I think Shakur will cause Teofimo Lopez problems. Interesting factors coming to the fight, though. Shakur's moving up away. Teofimo Lopez up against the southpaw, but he's beaten every southpaw he's faced, and that's a stat that's been mentioned a lot. He's beaten every southpaw he's faced in the amateurs and in the pros. So again, that's interesting. But again, in the pros, Shakur's defeated every single orthodox that he's been against. Yeah, look, I think Shakur Stevenson will win. I think best defensive fighter in boxing by far. Let's be real, he is. I think Tio's going to struggle. I do. I think Tio's going to struggle. I think inactivity is going to get to him because he's always bloody inactive, isn't he? And inactivity will get to him. I think Shakur's too good defensively to lose this fight, and I can't see a world where Teofimo Lopez outboxes Shakur. Can he beat him down? If he tries to beat Shakur down, I see Tio just walking onto counter shots. I see Teofimo Lopez getting frustrated. I see Teofimo Lopez lunging in. I see him getting countered when he lunges in. I think Shakur's got a good style to frustrate Teofimo Lopez. I look at Teofimo Lopez against Jermaine Ortiz. For example, let's be real. A mover, which is what Shakur is. Again, Shakur stands his ground, especially starting to stand his ground more than what people give him credit for. Either way, I feel like movers are very difficult for Teofimo Lopez to deal with. He doesn't like it at all. They're his hardest fights. They're the style which he gets slagged off a lot for fighting because he can't get a pin down on them. And if you can't get a pin down on guys like, a Jermaine Ortiz, for example, you're not going to be able to get a pin down on Shakur Stevenson. Again, look, I think, you look at his wins against Josh Taylor, you look at his wins against Arnold Barboza Jr., you look at his wins against Lomachenko. And again, while they're big wins, I don't see him turning up here and winning. I just don't. again, Tio's an elite fighter. I just feel like Shakur's got that about him where he's too good defensively, he's too good with his counters. I just feel like he's got that style which is going to be more frustrating for Teofimo Lopez. And look, you look at Josh Taylor though, like what level was he really at in that fight when he fought Tio? Again, Teofimo Lopez beat a pound for pound Lomachenko, and no one can take that bloody away from him whatsoever. It was a real bloody dominant performance. Let's be honest here. But then loses to George Kambosos. He's just a real up down guy. That's what Teofimo Lopez is. I can never fully trust Tio, but he does always perform when it does matter. That's what you have got to say. But I don't think he beat Shakur Stevenson. I really don't. I think Shakur Stevenson's going to win this on points. I reckon 116, 112, 117 to 111, something. Cards like that. But I'm picking Shakur. I'm picking Shakur Stevenson to win.